Imagine a world where women were seen as little more than pawns in the game of power. Now picture a flame-haired young woman who dared to defy those expectations, transforming personal tragedy into triumph. This is no fairy tale, but the extraordinary true story of Elizabeth I, who ascended to the English throne in 1558 amidst a maelstrom of religious turmoil and political uncertainty. Born into a world of opulence and danger, Elizabeth's childhood was far from a royal fairy tale. At just 2 years old, her world shattered when her own father, the infamous Henry VIII, ordered her mother's execution. Can you imagine the fear and confusion of a toddler suddenly declared illegitimate and cast aside? But our young princess was made of sterner stuff. Despite being marginalised, Elizabeth's mind blossomed under the tutelage of some of England's finest scholars. Languages, rhetoric, philosophy, she devoured them all, sharpening her intellect into a weapon that would serve her well in the cutthroat world of Tudor politics. Elizabeth's journey to the throne reads like a political thriller. Picture her watching from the sidelines as her sickly young brother Edward took the crown, only to die 6 years later. Then came the reign of her half-sister Mary, a time of religious persecution so brutal it earned her the moniker Bloody Mary. During this time, Elizabeth found herself in mortal danger. Suspected of plotting against the Queen, she was thrown into the Tower of London, the very place where her mother had met her grisly end. Can you imagine the courage it took to walk those cold stone corridors, never knowing if each day might be her last? When Elizabeth finally claimed the throne at 25, she faced a nation torn apart by religious strife and economic turmoil. Lesser rulers might have crumbled, but Elizabeth rose to the challenge with a cunning that would make Machiavelli proud. She crafted an image of herself as the Virgin Queen, married only to her country. With a single, powerful declaration, "I will have but one mistress here and no master," she challenged the very foundations of a patriarchal society. This wasn't just about remaining single, it was a brilliant political strategy that kept potential allies intrigued and enemies at bay. Elizabeth's greatest challenge lay in healing the religious divisions that had torn England apart. With the finesse of a tightrope walker, she steered a middle course between warring factions of Protestants and Catholics. The religious settlement of 1559 was her master stroke. Imagine the audacity of creating a new church that borrowed from both traditions, satisfying neither extreme but offering a compromise that most could live with. This wasn't just policy making, it was nation building on an epic scale. Under Elizabeth's rule, England experienced a renaissance that would rival anything seen in Italy or France. The theatres buzzed with the words of Shakespeare and Marlowe, while explorers like Drake and Raleigh pushed the boundaries of the known world. Picture the excitement as news of these voyages filtered back to London. Elizabeth wasn't just ruling a country, she was laying the foundations of an empire that would span the globe. But Elizabeth's reign wasn't all triumph and glory. She faced countless plots against her life, culminating in the heart-wrenching decision to execute her own cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots. Can you imagine the weight of that choice, knowing that your own survival meant condemning a family member to death? And then came the greatest test of all, the Spanish Armada. Picture the scene, the might of Spain bearing down on England's shores, with Elizabeth rallying her troops in full armour, declaring, "I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England too." The defeat of the Armada wasn't just a military victory, it was the moment England announced itself as a major player on the world stage. As we look back on Elizabeth's reign, we see more than just a queen, we see a revolutionary. In an age when women were considered property, she proved that a woman could not only rule, but excel in the male-dominated world of politics. Elizabeth's legacy isn't confined to dusty history books. Her reign reminds us of the power of resilience, the importance of compromise, and the impact one determined individual can have on the world. So the next time you face a challenge that seems insurmountable, remember Elizabeth. Remember the princess who became a queen, the woman who outwitted her enemies, and the ruler who transformed a troubled kingdom into one of the most powerful nations on earth. In Elizabeth's story, we find not just history, but inspiration. For in her triumph over adversity, we see the potential that lies within each of us to shape our destinies and leave our mark on the world. Intrigued by Elizabeth's reign? Don't let the curtain fall just yet. Like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Together, let's keep unraveling history's greatest tales.